الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
استقيم. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. لقد تاب الله على النبي والمهاجرين والأنصار الذين اتبعوه في ساعة العسرة من بعد ما كاد يزيغ قلوب فريق منهم ثم تاب عليهم إنه بهم رءوف رحيم. وعلى الثلاثة الذين خلفوا حتى إذا ضاقت عليهم الأرض بما رحبت وضاقت عليهم أنفسهم وظنوا أن لا ملجأ من الله إلا إليه ثم تاب عليهم ليتوبوا إن الله هو التواب الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله اتقوا الله وكونوا مع الصادقين. ما كان لأهل المدينة ومن حولهم من الأعراب أن يتخلفوا عن رسول الله ولا يرغبوا بأنفسهم عن نفسه ذلك بأنهم لا يصيبهم ظمأ ولا نصب ولا مخمصة في سبيل الله ولا يطؤون موطئا ولا يقطعون واديا إلا كتب لهم ولا يطؤون موطئا يغيظ الكفار ولا ينالون من عدو نيلا إلا كتب لهم به عمل صالح إن الله لا يضيع أجر المحسنين. ولا ينفقون نفقة صغيرة ولا كبيرة ولا يقطعون واديا إلا كتب لهم ليجزيهم الله أحسن ما كانوا يعملون. وما كان المؤمنون لينفروا كافة فلولا نفر من كل فرقة منهم طائفة ليتفقهوا في الدين ولينذروا قومهم إذا رجعوا إليهم لعلهم يحذرون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قاتلوا الذين يلونكم من الكفار وليجدوا فيكم غلظة واعلموا أن الله مع المتقين. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله 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 الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. يا أيها الذين آمنوا قاتلوا الذين يلونكم من الكفار وليجدوا فيكم غلظة واعلموا أن الله مع المتقين. وإذا ما أنزلت سورة فمنهم من يقول أيكم زادته هذه إيمانا فأما الذين آمنوا فزادتهم إيمانا وهم يستبشرون وأما الذين في قلوبهم مرض فزادتهم رجسا إلى رجسهم وماتوا وهم كافرون. أولا يرون أنهم يفتنون في كل عام مرة أو مرتين ثم لا يتوبون ولا هم يذكرون. وإذا ما أنزلت سورة نظر بعضهم إلى بعض نظر بعضهم إلى بعض هل يراكم من أحد ثم صرفوا صرف الله قلوبهم بأنهم قوم لا يفقهون. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله 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 السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله اللهم انت السلام. لا إله إلا الله.
Assalamu alaikum. So again, I'd like to welcome Sheikh Ibrahim, who's with us here. Barakallahu feek. Also, he was generous enough to give out some perfumes on a couple of days ago. They all went very fast. Even though they say free is no good, all right. But anyways, inshallah, it's good promotion for his, for his doing and from his generosity and karam. May Allah accept him, inshallah, and inshallah, be seeing more of him. So the program, inshallah, will go as follows. Inshallah, Abdullah Sam will give a short talk right now, and then at 7 a.m. Today we're getting the breakfast from Ramallah Market, not all the way from Palestine. Don't worry, it's in Tampa here, inshallah, 56. All right. So that should be arriving, inshallah, around 7:05. So that, inshallah, will be there, and then we'll have the breakfast, inshallah. So I'll ask Abdullah to come up, inshallah.
الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على سيد الرسل وخاتم الأنبياء وعلى آله الأزكياء وأصحابه الأتقياء أما بعد. اللهم أخرجنا من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمنا بنور الفهم وافتح علينا بمعرفة العلم وسهل أخلاقنا بالحلم واجعلنا ممن يستمعون القول فيتبعون أحسنه. سمعنا ما تيسر من سورة التوبة حيث قال تعالى: لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. As our dear Sheikh Qari Ibrahim from Jordan, who displayed his own voice today, although he enumerated us with his multitude of voices from last week, he beautifully recited the last few ayat from Surah At-Tawbah. And these ayat have a numerous amount of mu'jizat that are associated with it. For example, if I'm not mistaken, Sheikh can correct me, but these were the last few ayahs that were also compiled during the time of compilation of the Quran. When Zayd ibn Thabit was collecting the Quran, that these were the last ayahs that were in fact compiled. Not only that, but they came from someone. Whenever the Quran was compiled, there was a minimum needed of 2 witnesses for those ayat. And without 2 witnesses, those ayat would not be able to be compiled. But in these particular ayat, the one that gave the ayat for the compilation was told from a previous hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, was told from a previous incident that this man is worth 2 when it comes to witnesses. And that's these ayat that were revealed. And the meaning of these ayats is لَقَدْ جَاءَكُمْ رَسُولٌ مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ. First of all, whenever lam before it comes from laqad, it's wallahi laqad, by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking a qasam, He's taking an oath. And when Allah ta'ala takes an oath, it's not something that's small. You and I may take an oath all the time. I know this is a common thing, but most, it's become common in our language. Everyone says wallah this, wallah that. Before every other sentence, wallah this, wallah that, ihdib. And it's not something to throw around. You don't throw around Allah Ta'ala's qasam. It's not for you to throw around. That's for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he begins by saying that certainly by Allah a messenger has come to you, Azizun alayhi ma anittum. There's such a beautiful way to actually understand this, and it's very difficult to translate. Azizun alayhi ma anittum means that your suffering, everything that happens to you, the Muslims, everything that goes on in your life hurts him, or he feels it. He feels your suffering. And what does that mean? That means that every single Sahaba that went through torture, every single Sahaba that, when the Sahabas were speaking about what happened to them in Mecca, and Khabbab ibn Arat, he pulled the back of his shirt up, and he didn't say anything. He rather all he did was show scars. He said that this suffering, that suffering is what he ﷺ felt as well. And if you also look in the seerah of he ﷺ, he went through everything that another person could go through. Meaning what? At a young age he lost his mother. At a young age, he never even saw his dad. He lost his mother. Where did he ﷺ lose his mother? Anyone know where? Al-Abwa. Where is Abwa? Between Mecca and Medina. Right? On the way back from Medina. That's when his mother died. And it says in Ad-Dalal al-Nubuwa, it's a famous seerah book, that there's many wisdoms that come from his mother passing away in Abwa. What's one of them? What would happen if his mother passed away in Mecca? Any guesses? His family would be there. His uncle would be there, his grandfather would be there. They'd be there to console him, right? If his mother passed away in Mecca, everyone would be there to at least console him. This was the prized son of the grandson of Abdul Muttalib. Everyone would be there for him. But his mother's passing away in Abwa. Who's there? Ayman, no one else. Just him, Ayman, and his mother who's passing away. And that shows when this happened with him, والسلام, it taught him that such a level of patience and such a way to get through suffering that anything that would cross this man's path, any further pain that would cross والسلام's path, would be able to be dealt with. Because he understood that pain. Then what happened? He got kicked out of his own house. Then when he went to Taif, he got kicked out of Taif as well. And they say that the blood coagulated in his sandals. Does anyone know what that means? So what happens is blood remains in its fluid state when it's in the body at a particular pH, at a particular temperature. That's when blood remains in that state. Once blood exits the body, what happened? What happens? It clots, it sticks. So they said regarding when he ﷺ was leaving Taif, that it clotted and it stuck so much that his sandal was stuck to his feet. Okay? Understand? Do you understand what type of pain someone has to go through? So Azizun alayhi ma'anitum, meaning anything that anyone could go through from the Sahabas, anything that anyone could go through from the Tabi'in and from the Salaf al-Salihin, and anyone that comes after them, he ﷺ has either felt it, could feel it, or understand it, and it pains him as well. And that makes him relatable. That's the first thing he says. حَرِيصٌ عَلَيْكُمْ بِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَؤُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. And he's extremely soft towards the believers, caring towards the believers, loving towards the believers. There's a beautiful narration of Abdullah ibn Jabir radiallahu anhu, and he was a Sahabi who lost so much. And when this Sahabi one time, they were returning from a ghazwa, and in that specific ghazwa, he lost his father. And this man, he had many sisters, and he also had a wife. So he needed people to take care of. So the last thing he had was a camel. And this camel was extremely slow. It was a very, very slow, extremely old camel. So what he ﷺ did was he noticed that Abdullah ibn Jabir was like lagging back. He was at the back of the army. He was at the back of the caravan. So he slowly made his way back and made his way back and made his way back until he was level with Abdullah ibn Jabir radiallahu anhu. And when he's level with him, he starts asking him what happened, what's this and what's that. He starts caring about him. And then Abdullah ibn Jabir radiallahu anhu, he mentions to the Prophet ﷺ after questioning that he married a widow. And Abdullah and ﷺ asked him, why did you marry a widow? Why didn't you marry someone that's young? Why didn't you marry someone who's never married before? And he said, I married a widow so she could take care of my sisters. So she's more experienced, she's a little older, she can take care of my sisters. So then he ﷺ starts laughing, starts smiling, starts cheering him up a little bit, and then he asks him, I want to buy your camel. Now when Nabi ﷺ tells you anything, you got to follow it. You have to follow it. So Abdullah ibn Jabir says, no, this camel is all I have left. All I have left is this old camel. This is all I have. Please, I can't sell it to you. So then he starts insisting. He says, no, you have to sell this to me. I'll buy it for 1 dirham. He said, I can't sell it to you for 1 dirham. I'll buy it for 2 dirhams, 3 dirhams, 4 dirhams. Slowly they're going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Eventually they conclude and agree on a price. It's still a decent amount, but very little. Well, decent amount to the camel. And so the next day comes, and Abdullah ibn Jabir is explaining to his uncles that he has to sell the camel to him, and his uncles are very pissed off at him. They're mad at him. This is all you have left, and you're selling the camel? So then Abdullah ibn Jabir, he goes to the masjid of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and he comes to bring his camel, and he leaves it there, and he rushes inside so he can sell it to Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And he doesn't tie it. So then he said the famous hadith where tie your camel and then trust Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So then Bilal radiallahu anhu, who used to organize and take care of the treasure of He alayhi salatu wasalam, he brings out the stipulated amount and he gives it to Abdullah ibn Jabir. Abdullah ibn Jabir leaves his camel outside for He alayhi salatu wasalam, and then Abdullah ibn Jabir starts leaving. And then Prophet ﷺ, he calls out to him and he says, Ya Abdullah, you left your camel. So the point was for him to give money to Abdullah ibn Jabir without embarrassing him, without making him feel bad, without hurting him. So many times we make a donation and we think, oh, this person belongs to me. So many times some of us may sponsor orphans around the world. We post their picture on our wall, we post their picture on our Facebook, and we say, oh, this guy basically adopted him. This guy belongs to me now. But if you understand the way that Prophet ﷺ cared, his softness, his sweetness towards people, that this is just one random Sahaba with just a few narrations. Very few narrations. Not many people can even mention his name for another narration. But he knows everything about him. He knows who he married. He knows how many sisters he has. He knows his exact condition. He's soft towards the believers. So if you understand these two things, that your suffering hurts him and how soft he is, then immediately you'll fall in love with He alayhi salatu wasalam. I'll end with the last thing, and that's, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted, He could have given us the most, na'udhu billah, the most ugly, the most horrible, ill-mannered person as a prophet. If He could have. And if He said, Ati'u Allah wa ati'u Rasul, if that's the Rasul, then you'd still have to follow him no matter what. Regardless of his status, you would still have to follow him. But He's been such a mercy that He's given us such a beautiful figure, both physically, with the skin of a harvest moon, eyebrows perfectly curved, not too tall, not too short, broad-shouldered, but not too broad. When He would walk, it'd be like He'd walk uphill, or He'd walk downhill. All of these beautiful sifat, if you look at Him alayhi salatu wasalam from the outside, you can't help but fall in love with Him. So He gave us the most beautiful person, inside and out, for us to follow. It's almost immediate that a person should follow His sunnah, and needs to follow His sunnah. So then you start seeing what everyone else is doing outside. But if you're in love with He alayhi salatu wasalam, that's all that's on your mind. Now people that dress like Him look beautiful to you. People that talk like Him look beautiful to you. People who recite like Him look beautiful to you. People who speak His words look beautiful to you. And nothing else matters anymore. You go outside, nothing else matters. Everyone can do whatever they want. But you in your heart, you're making salawat all the time. You in your heart are loving Him alayhi salatu wasalam all the time. Every single day you say, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad in your prayer. How many of you actually think His face comes to mind, His thought comes to mind, you see Him? How many of you understand that? How many of us actually believe that? It's immediate, a person's allegiance to Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, the moment they begin understanding His allegiance and love for every single believer that's out there. So we ask Allah Ta'ala, make us from those who love Him alayhi salatu wasalam. Make us from those who are able to drink from His hands at that time when it is to be drunk. We ask Allah Ta'ala, make us from those who receive His intercession on the Day of Judgment, from those who emulate His outer status and His inner status, from those who are able to carry on not only His name but His legacy. We ask Allah Ta'ala accept from us. Wa akhiru da'wana. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.
Jazakallah khair, Allah for that. So I just want to announce a couple of things for today. At Morris Bridge, inshallah, there's a youth conference. They're going to have